Hi, welcome to Creative Printing with Canon. I am Christine McKay, and today, me and my guest Vincent are going to address one of the top questions that we get here at my craft channel, and that is, what type of paper should I use with my printer? So we have brought in the top dog, the big guns. We have brought in Vincent, who is a sales and product trainer with Canon, and we are going to ask you that. What paper's the best?
Well, you know, really the paper all depends on what exactly you're doing. So, you know, if you're doing a DIY project or, if, you know, family portraits, there's different papers for different things. Really the biggest key is that you're the artist, so you decide what's best for the type of photography or projects you're doing.
Okay, so let me just show you a couple examples and let's talk about these. And let me just say that sometimes, this is one of those cases where sometimes we hope that it shows up really well across the camera, but other times, you know, with printing your photos, there's such a finite difference to it. So, but let's go through each one of these, and I should make him guess, shouldn't I? Should we play the guessing game? Just kidding. Okay, so this, do you know what this is printed on?
It looks like it's plain paper.
Yeah, there you go, bingo. This is just printed off on just regular inkjet printer paper. It's kind of not that great.
Yeah. I mean, you know, plain paper is great for documents and things of that sort. Probably not ideal for photographs, but doesn't mean you can't use it. But as you can see, the effects that happens with those type of papers, you tend to get a more muted color. And
let's compare, and hopefully you can see at home what we see, because the vibrancy is completely different when you are printing on the photo paper versus just your regular printer paper.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely want to use a paper that's designed for photo printing. Of course, depending on the printer that you will be using, you know, just make sure that the paper is compatible. And you know, something like an IP8720, all the Canon photo papers would be compatible with that. But as you can tell the difference, you get a lot more detail, more vividness, and a lot of contrast with that type of printing.
So this one right here this is actually my favorite paper to print on, and this is just the matte photo. So let's just talk about these for a minute, because I think that is the biggest question, Vincent, people are always asking is, what's the difference between the matte and the glossy? Sure. Besides the obvious difference that one is just a little shinier and the other one's a little dulled.
Right. I mean, that's obviously a very clear difference, is that when you get a glossy paper, you typically are getting a white point of the paper, which is about 90. So if we scaled the whiteness of the paper from 0 to 100, this would fall in the range of a 90. A matte paper would fall more in a range of close to 100.
Okay.
And so the whiter the paper, the more color gamuts you're going to be able to accomplish with your print.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Now, for somebody that, like me, that I want to scrapbook my photos and I want them to last for a really long time, is the glossy or the matte, is one going to last longer than the other?
Well, it does vary from paper to paper. So usually with the Canon system, it combines our Canon print head along with genuine ink and photo paper to create a system to give you photo longevity. Mm-hmm. So, you know, something like these that are done in Canon papers, they can last anywhere from, you know, 30 to 300 years, depending on how you're storing them, whether it's an archive album or if you're storing them in a UV protected frame. The time will vary.
So at that point, it kind of is just, would you say it's just more personal preference?
Some of it, yeah, definitely comes down to personal preference. I mean, I think the matte papers are definitely great for, you know, black and white photos.
Yeah.
I tend to really draw to black and white.
I was going to say, actually, and these are both beautiful, but this was just a little landscape. Do you want to be my assistant, Vincent?
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
And you know, once again, it just goes back to your personal preference, but I really prefer doing my black and whites in the matte. It seems more soft. It seems more subtle. I don't know.
It does. So in some cases, you'll get a little bit of a lower contrast. Doesn't mean that you're losing necessarily any detail, but because of the type of paper, it's going to just add a little more texture to your image. And so, in the difference of getting a print done on a glossy type of paper, you're going to get more finer detail and a little more contrast in that type of paper.
Awesome. Okay. So having said that, I was just going to share a couple of just my personal, from a crafting perspective, is I prefer using the matte paper when we do projects. For instance, this one right here that is foldable, and so a lot of the printables that we have that are exclusive Canon and my craft channel printables, not all of them, we have lots of ones that are really great for like hanging on the wall in a frame. For those are great and glossy, but anytime I have one that I want to fold up or I need to do scoring marks, I kind of prefer the matte paper.
Yeah, definitely, you would definitely want to use a matte type of paper, because those are really designed for those type of projects and things of that sort. So if you're you know, have like your example here, it's very foldable foldable, you can bend it, crease it, and it still maintains its durability.
And in fact, speaking of bending and creasing, this is a project, I'll show you first, Vincent, so you can see this. So I really wanted to achieve a really, and this is one we featured actually on one of our previous episodes on creative printing, but I really wanted that vintage feel, and so I actually printed on the mat, kind of wadded it up, kind of, you know, bent it and creased it just to give it that weathered look. And I think it ended up, I really was happy with the way it looked, and I don't think I would have achieved that with the glossy.
Yeah, and exactly like you mentioned, you could do different things with it, especially from an artistic perspective, and it has a very classic look to it, especially when you go like black and white and the technique that you did there.
So, fun techniques that you can do. Okay, so let's get to the fun part. Not that this hasn't been fun, Vincent, because this has been super fun. But let's get to the fun part. Our viewers and our crafters, we are loving the Pixma IP8720. This is the crafter's printer because we are so excited that now we can go off the page and create poster prints. We can do wall gallery arts. So let's talk about the paper, because I think you brought the, because we get a lot of that. We get that question: where do I buy the paper? What does it look like? Do you want to show them?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is an example of a 13 by 19 matte paper that Canon makes. So this is an example of a printed sample there. You also have a variety. So everything down to your 4 by 6 to 5 by 7s, 8.5 by 11, and available in very versatile types. So we've got your glossy paper.
I was gonna say, so this is this is a printable that we've featured before on the channel. This is actually the glossy. But I have to say, I remember the first time, and I think I've shared this before, but I remember the first time I took that out of the package. It was like as big as I was, and I was so excited that I could now print larger photos.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's definitely when you get to take advantage of the space that you can on a 13 by 19. Okay,
so one of the things that our customers are always asking is where can I pick this up at?
You can pick this up at our Canon Direct online store.
Absolutely, and if you can go there directly, or you can just click on the link in the description, or you can go to our blog and click on our Canon page, but it's readily available, and really it is such a great way to just up the game in your crafting, right, Vincent?
Absolutely, yeah.
Have you upped the game in your crafting?
I have. I've learned so much from you, so I'm very excited about the printing and everything.
Well, you had mentioned that, we often tout that this goes to the 13 by 19, but you mentioned it also prints the smaller sizes as well. So every week we do a free printable. So this is one that we did a few episodes back, and which is a great way to mention that we have created an entire library of exclusive printables that are available for you. So this is just a really cool way that makes it versatile. I love this size because you can create larger projects, yet you can print it on the 8.5 by 11. This is perfect for mason jar lids, because I know how you love those mason jar lids, right?
Oh yeah.
You can also go all the way down to the 4 by 6 or the 5 by 7. So pretty much you have now expanded the versatility of this one printable by just scaling it up or down on your photo paper. So we love that. Now, speaking of which, I want to just let you know what the free printable is this week, because we talked about the matte paper. I learned something new that you can do with the matte paper.
Oh yeah? What did you learn?
So I decided to try watercoloring on it. And you know what? It worked beautifully. Now, obviously, we all use different brands of watercolor. So, the one that I used Faber-Castell Gelatos, and it worked great. I love mixed media. We often have kind of fun, cutesy printables, but I am really getting into the more vintage. And so this is just an example of some different things. So right here, I actually did watercolor. And then this one, and let me just tell you, I'm not a big watercolorer, but the paper took the ink so well, and it was just a fun look. This is one that we just simply colored, so you can do that. So this week's printable, it looks like this. This is an exclusive printable with Canon and my craft channel. And Vincent, I think you're going to like this one, because there's quotes on here like, "She whispered to herself, breathe, I've got this."
Oh, I like that.
Do you like that one? Oh, how about this one? "With a little bit of confidence and the right dress, she knew she could do anything."
Could totally relate.
Totally relate. Or, in your case, with the right pair of slacks, we can do anything. So this is just a fun printable that you can go to the My Craft Channel blog and print this out. So Vincent, thank you for stopping by. Before we let our viewers go, what is just maybe some bullet points that we can leave them with as they're deciding what kind of paper that they want to select for their projects?
Yeah, definitely consider the type of project that they'll be doing. So if I'm printing a photo, or I'm creating a craft such as this here, also consider the type of paper. So paper like glossy paper, matte paper, or happy medium, something like a semi-gloss. And then also consider the size and format that they're going to be printing. Do I want to print 4x6? Do I need something larger like a 13x19?
I love it. And for me, I go for the 13x19 every time. I love this printer. Don't forget that you can check this out on the Canon store. This is the Canon Pixma IP8720, and you can actually just click in the link in the description, or you can go to our blog or just our homepage on our website, and you can get to the Canon website from there. So thanks for joining us, Vincent. Thank you so much for stopping by, and join us next time right here on Creative Printing with Canon.